Hey folks, you've gone to some previous workshops. You might have seen me before. My name is Matt. I'm a solutions engineer at Attio. Today we have a special guest. Alexandra is going to be walking through how to connect Clay and Attio and the different use cases you can achieve there through enrichment and get a lot of power out of both systems. He he's built a lot of content in this area in the past, is a true expert in this space. So we thought it'd be amazing for our community to learn from him today. And with that, I'll pass it over to you.
Amazing. Welcome, everyone. I have a little presentation to walk you through the system. I have a template that I will share with you shortly. Today, we're going to talk about my favorite topic. How can we enrich Attio with Clay? How can we have the best CRM talk to the best enrichment platform? Which is our internal setup, and I'm going to show you our internal setup in a minute. So it's not going to be, the demo is not a demo. It's actually I was sharing with the Attio team before the event started. Just to test that things work still, I just enriched 3,000 records to warm up the machine. So it works. We're going to see what is enrichment just briefly, like why do this whole exercise. Then we'll have the demo. And then we're going to go through each piece of the puzzle that we use to enrich our records at 9x, which I think you can replicate if you're using Attio and Clay. Sounds good? All right, so why are we doing this? Your CRM is as good as its data. So bad data, no party, no information about the leads, no idea who to focus on, but it comes with challenges. Good data comes with challenges. So the top 3 CRM data challenges are data coverage, so getting good data quality on leads and customers, reliable data, that's very difficult. Second is speed. You want to get that data as fast as possible. Sign up on your website. I know exactly who you are. I have already classified you, ranked you, scored you. And if you are relevant, I'm reaching out right away. Manual effort. Ask your sales team if they like to update records in the CRM. Or don't ask, I'll tell you, they shouldn't be doing it. And now with the current state of the tools that we have available to us, now with Attio and Clay, we're just able to solve for those challenges. So what do we need to do? We need to automatically enrich CRM records like that, not by typing, by building an enricher, where you have on one side, you have a CRM, on the other side, you have your enricher. We'll use Clay for that. The CRM sends enrichment requests whenever it makes sense. The enricher sends back enrichment data at the speed of light. And today our example is going to be Attio and Clay talking to each other. No integration platform in the middle. We all do this just with these 2 tools. So you don't need to get an extra Zapier account or Make or NA10. You can do all that just with the 2 platforms. All right, it's demo time. So I will show you a manual update now. So first, let's demo this the enrichment maybe more manually in Attio. Let's go to Attio. So we can see you here, and we can. So I'll take 1%. I'll take Yaro for instance, and we have already fully enriched this person. We've already looked up the person and the company. You can see that from the list we have here, the people who are signing up already get the company. Sometimes we get the job title already. The data that we're going to get, it depends from Clay and the quality of our Clay research. But you can see that I go at least from just a single email to already having a list of companies, and we enrich those. Okay, so what's the logic behind that? I'm going to walk you through the different steps and the different workflows. First, we have a new lead that enters in the CRM, and it can come from different sources. The first thing we're going to do is figure out whether the person is already in the CRM. And then we're going to trigger the person enrichment. That is the first Clay table where we're going to look for information about the person based on the information that we have on the lead form. And then we're going to check whether the company is already in the CRM and trigger the company enrichment. So step 1. You need an inbound leads list in Attio. And actually, that's why it was great. I had all my links prepared, but of course, that's the list we should have been showing. So this list is filtering, only the signups since the last, since today, or since, just the today's signup. And that's going to be the trigger for our entire workflow. So this could be your website signups. This could be somebody registers to the newsletter. The beauty is, and actually for us, we have different triggers. So we have people registering to events. Similar, we're going to fire up the same enrichment flow. People registering to our courses, same logic. And it's the same system, so you don't have to repeat yourself. So step one, you build a list in Attio where your leads that you want to enrich land. Step two, for each person, we're going to send that person to our Clay table. And without integration platform, without Zapier, Make, and the rest, what you need to do is to send an HTTP request, because to my knowledge, I think it will most likely be added in the near future by Clay and by Attio, or by one of them. There is no integration between the two, so you have to use what we call an HTTP request or a webhook, and that's this workflow right here. So let me show you that exact setup we're using. So when a record is added to tutorials, which is what happened when you signed up, send HTTP request, and there you are going to trigger and send all that data. So what you specify is the data to send here. And we'll change the webhook afterwards. And then so we are passing all the information that, all the good stuff that we want to identify the person, the full name, email, domain, LinkedIn, Twitter, job title. Some of these might be empty, and in most cases, we just have the email. But if we have this extra information, we're going to pass it. So that's step one, or step two. Then we want to enrich the person in Clay and send it back to Attio. So that's the first Clay table right here. So the first step of this Clay table is receiving the person. So in Clay, you can add people via CSV upload. You can have some integration with other CRMs. Here we are making our custom integration, and so we are getting the person via webhook. So that's what we receive from the HTTP request we made in Clay, in Attio. From there, usually I have like a special QR code. So for the data that is passed, that is delivered, it comes from Attio. I have those fields in red. So then I can see, especially if you want to debug and identify why an enrichment has not worked, since the data you receive it might be a bit different from time to time, you are going I like to display everything and to see, okay, I have a problem maybe with this particular person. This person doesn't have a LinkedIn profile. It was just an email. It was a Gmail address. Okay, then it's harder. That's why we didn't get the enrichment information. So this is the initial data we get. Then we have a number of enrichment steps. I'll describe the main ones, but here, what's important to understand is don't duplicate my enrichments. Don't do the exact same thing. You will have different data points that you want to retrieve. You will have it really depends on your preferences. The trick here is really how do we receive, how do we send the data to a Clay table in the first place? How do we do our own research there? And then how do we send it back to Attio? So what am I doing here? For our setup internally, first we want to determine whether it's an email, a work email or not. Lots of work email, that's very good. With few personal email addresses. Then here, I think is the most important part. Once we qualified that, we want to find the LinkedIn URL of that person. So based on your name, if I have your email, I give all these inputs to a Clay agent, Neon. Actually, if you need more intelligence, can also put Argon. I will test that. Now we have a lot of credits. And the job is to find the LinkedIn URL of the person. So there's a long prompt. You can see it's usually quite successful. Sometimes it doesn't find a profile, and that makes the whole enrichment process bit more difficult, but yeah, we have a good hit rate there. And typically, if you want to improve your enrichment process and the rate of leads enriched, it's going to be in tweaking those prompts, and it's going to be in refining your tactic to find that LinkedIn profile for the person. Once we have it, well, there's a function in Clay called enrich based on certain parameters. If you have the LinkedIn URL, you're good to go. So then you have access to a lot of data points, what I showed there. Yeah, you can have email as a backup. And so that's my enrichment logic. And then from there, you go from a LinkedIn profile to those data points. So I'm filtering for the things that I care about. Mostly it's going to be the description, the job title, obviously, the company information. And then in those last steps here, we are doing a bit of categorization, where the goal is to attribute a persona to the lead, to attribute a type, so more like seniority, and a function. So we know if we have a lot of people working in product that are interested in our courses, or whether we have more people on the sales side. And then that's something that we can afterwards feed back into our roadmap on the next tutorials we should be doing. Maybe less GTM tutorials like this one and more tutorials around finance automation, for instance. Once you have done all of that, which will be your own logic, to bring that back to Attio, we make an HTTP request with Clay, and we're going to send via JSON all the properties that we use to enrich back the contact. That's step 2. Step 3, we update the person and we send the company to Clay. The logic, when a webhook is received, that webhook will contain a JSON. We want to parse it. I'll explain why in a second. Then we want to find back the person we wanted to update. And that is why in that data set I send in the first place to Clay, I am sending the Attio ID. We're not going to look back for the person per email. We're not going to don't do a search, you get by ID, so that you will for sure update the same record that started the workflow. I like to notify on Slack when a record is enriched to audit of the quality of the enrichment process, and also be able to react fast if we have like an interesting lead. And then we're going to right away trigger back the next step, the company enrichment. And there we'll have two different branches. Either the company already exists in the CRM, or it doesn't. If the company already exists in the CRM, you will see that there's a very handy feature in Clay that prevents you from re-enriching records that already been enriched. You can just deduplicate in the table. It's very convenient. So let me show you in Attio. So that's the one. When a webhook was received, so far so good. So this is something you configure in your workflows in Attio. Parse the JSON. So here we receive a big chunk of text. So if we look at a run, yeah. So this is what we receive here. Our data is already there. The problem is it's a JSON. A JSON file is a piece of text that represents what we call a JavaScript object, JSON object notation. So that's text. And typically what you want, if I want to access the Attio ID, I need to access the ID property. If I want to access the job title, I need to access the job title property. So to go from a big chunk of text to separate properties, you use this action parse JSON. And then you specify the different properties you want to extract. And here are the properties that you have in Clay. And so whenever you need to extract another property, you will need to look for it in Clay. You will need to add it in the JSON in Clay that you are going to send back. And then you're going to parse it here and add it as a property there. Is it tedious? Yes. Do you do it once and then forget about it and it works? Also. Then, once we have all those properties, we have not updated anything. So we're going to look for the person to update. And that is why I'm doing a search I'm wondering whether, I don't think there's a get record action inside at your workflow. So you have to do a search, but I do a search that finds with 100% certainty the right contact. Why? Because I already have the at your record ID since the very beginning of the flow, and I'm searching by record ID. So there's going to be one unique match, and on top of that, I will limit to 1. We always find that 1%, and then we update it. So we map again. So now we're actually pasting the data in our CRM. And our person is enriched. And then in the same workflow, we're going to have 2 conditions. Either the company already exists. It can happen. We can have somebody who signs up from a large scale up that we work with, and then there's a new person that is signing up. We already have the company. People are matched with companies with the email domain, so it is a very common case. Or the company does not exist. So you need to distinguish between these two. So if the company already exists, first we're going to notify on Slack, and we'll see the last step, that the person was already enriched. Fantastic. Then we're going to find this company. Same type of search. Record ID is at your record ID, done. And then finally, we are only going to trigger the enrichment if the company was not enriched yet. This setting is very important. So when I update a record or update a person or a company, I will have a date property that says last enriched. So we can see that on, who was our guinea pig earlier? People, let me look at my view here. Again, tutorials, the recently added. So, okay, we have Andy. See, Andy was enriched 12 minutes ago. We do the same for companies. This is something you want to treat like, if I enrich Andy right now, okay, now I have up-to-date information. Do we want to 6 months later enrich Andy again if there's another touch point? That is all up to you to decide. There's not, right now, I'm just enriching once. But maybe in a year's time, I will change this input to be, okay, if last enrich is more than 3 months ago, I will still want to trigger again that clear enrichment. So again, what do we do here? We're going to send some information about the company, ID, name, LinkedIn domains. I'll need to change this webhook again. And we're back in Clay, this time with the company. So you can see record ID, domains, name. This is what we send. Sometimes we have everything. Sometimes we don't have everything. It doesn't matter. We'll use all the inputs we have to find, once again, what is the key to find all the information we need. We're looking for the profile, the LinkedIn URL of the company. Same process, find the LinkedIn profile. Here's what I know so far. Do your magic, put a very good Clayagent on top, and yeah, not bad. I mean, there's a lot of green, so it works. Once you have that, you can, so what is this? This is, this is also one thing, one strategy. For those of you who don't know, merge fields in Clay. So I will take the search first, to the outcome of the search first, which is probably at this stage 90% of the cases is already fine. And I already have sometimes in the CRM a property. So in the eventuality that the search is not conclusive, but I had a link, we're going to paste that link. And then enrich company using, again, the company identifier. What have I done here? I would assume. Ah, that's the one. Yeah. Yes. Same. From that, you will get information that's relevant to you. You decide which properties are interesting. We have the same categorization at the end. So I want to put companies in buckets. If you're Attio, you're B2B SaaS. If you're Attio in 3 years, 4 years, very big company by then, maybe you'll fall into enterprise. It really depends. And that's pretty much it, what we do there. Again, a good old HTTP request back to Attio, and we're back with the same process. We receive the webhook, we pass the JSON, we extract those properties, so employees, when it was founded, the description, the industry, the vertical. So the industry is, let's say, LinkedIn industry, or like it's a more broad definition, and the vertical is what basically it's our internal definition, how we segment the world, and usually you have less of that to so that your reports are more digestible. You find the company to update, same search, which will always return the company. You update the company with your properties. And then here right now the switch, I think it depends on the outcome of the, just to make the Slack notification pretty. So the final outcome, if you go to enrichment, that's, we're blending. So I'm also quite, let's say, picky on the Slack notifications. I think for an enrichment log, it should be short and sweet and already tell the essential. You can see we have sometimes a company name missing. It's an error of logic. It's not we should have the company. It's more like when the notification is triggered. But basically, those are the insights I want to have in real time for a person. I want to see, so you hyperlink with the Attio record. That goes without saying. But ask yourself, what are the important facts that, what are the good signals at this stage? Or let's say attributes of the person or the company that we want to check. So you can have, for me, for the person, is going to be adjust the job title and the company. We don't do anything fancy there for now. And for the company itself, which bucket does it fall in? How many employees? And what's the ARR range there? You can customize that entirely, and imagine how your sales team will feel if this is where they start from every day. So somebody sign up, that's what they do. That's roughly the ARR that we think they generate. There's a lot of good stuff you can work on just from that. The key for building these systems, I'm not going to say you have to learn what I know and I have a course for this. The key is actually thinking the system right. So I see many people who want to enrich. I think the technical skills they help definitely. And if you want to learn them, if you want to know what a webhook is, and like this will be very useful in the future, in the AI native future we're going to have. But I think what's important is to the engineering part and thinking of a simple system. And you see, it's actually, there's a lot of things piped together, but you see in the end, it's actually rather simple. There's a person, should we enrich that person? You send to Clay. And then we trigger the company, and should we enrich this company or have we already? And we send to Clay. Nailing this logic will help you build better systems and not have this spaghetti workflows and difficulties along the way. So yeah, that's what I had, and thanks for having me. It was fun.
Awesome. Appreciate it, folks. Cheers.
Bye bye.